Folks, we deserve a better government than the government we have. We deserve better politicians than the politicians we have, and I'm going to prove it today. They are so nuts. What power is there for Congress and the Constitution to get involved in naming something? A private company? That's what a football team is. It's a private company. It's a business. Well, we're offended by the name. Well, then the market should handle that. They're offended by the name of the Washington Redskins. How many of these politicians have been to Redskins games? I'll bet a whole bunch of them. And I'll bet over the, 70, 80-year history of the team, a bunch have been in the owner's box for that matter. Hey, can we have a special ticket? Hey, can we come to the Super Bowl? Hey, can we be there at the playoffs? Hey. But they're hypocrites. So here we are again. The United States Senate, which cannot pass a budget. The United States Senate, which is bankrupting this nation. The United States Senate, which will not take its foot off the throat of the economy. Millions and millions of people who are looking for jobs. The United States Senate, which is useless if you ask me. Well, 50 of them got together, all Democrats, and they wrote a letter. Did you know they could write? And they've now sent it off, I guess, to the league, demanding that the Washington Redskins change the team name. And I don't know about you folks, but when I hear the Washington Redskins, I'm not even thinking of Indians or Native Americans. It's like a color or whatever. It has absolutely nothing to do with that in my mind, and I assure you in the vast majority of everybody's minds who are listening today. It's like the name Oklahoma, the state Oklahoma. Do you know where that name comes from? I'll bet you don't. Well, if I could find the damn thing, I would tell you. Because I looked that up, too. It's Choctaw. Oklahoma. Oklahoma. Red people. So I think the senator from the state of Washington, what's her face? Maria Cantwell, should introduce legislation to change the name of the state of Oklahoma, I guess. This is when you know a country's dying from the inside out. Our borders aren't secure. The Russians and the Chinese are cutting deals for fuel. Their navies are working together. This administration lit a match to the Middle East. I mean, it's just our economy is on its back, and these buffoons get together because they want to change the name of a football team. Hey, Cantwell, you want to change the name of a football team? Go buy one yourself. The hell, you're elected to the United States Senate. You're in charge of the whole world. When did that happen? That's not what the Constitution provides. So first things first, shut the hell up, because you people in the Senate have nothing to say about any of this. Nothing. Zero. And those things you do have something to say about, you're destroying. Like our financial and economic system in this country. And she joined Harry Reid, because Harry Reid is very upset about this. So I'm reminded, Harry Reid, Mr. Civil Rights Leader, he's actually the Donald Sterling of the United States Senate. Did you know that? Harry Reid is the Donald Sterling of the United States Senate. Remember that book, Game Change? Remember I had one of the authors on here? And let's see here. Yeah, the author, I'm trying to remember his name. I didn't have Halpern. I had the other fellow, John Heilman. Okay. From New York Magazine. And on page 37, Harry Reid talked about Barack Obama. And Reid was wowed, the book said, by Obama's oratorical gifts and believed that the country was ready to embrace a black presidential candidate, especially one such as Obama, quote, a light-skinned African-American with no Negro dialect unless he wanted to have one, he said privately. Now, originally he denied that, but soon he apologized for it. Why wasn't Harry Reid banned from the United States Senate? Has he been banned from NBA basketball games? Has he been banned from anything? No! No, he hasn't. Quote, a light-skinned African-American with no Negro dialect. Doesn't he know the word Negro's out? Unless he wanted to have one, he said. Privately. Page 37. This is the guy with Cantwell behind the letter about the Washington Redskins. A name that's been around since the 1930s. I have an idea. If those 50 Democrat senators want to get rid of the name Redskins, then why don't they pony up about $1.5 billion and buy the team and change it? Maybe they could call it, Mr. Producer, the Washington Democrats. Here's the problem. The word Democrat. If you look at history, the word Democrat, I don't mean little d Democrat, but Democrat Party conjures up slavery and segregation and lynchings and the Klan. The Democrat Party. Oh yes, Ms. Cantwell, your party offends a whole lot of us. Millions and millions of us. You young folks out there, here's a quick summary that you didn't get in high school or college. Keep in mind the Democrat Party supported slavery. And after the Civil War, the Democrat Party supported segregation. For 100 years after the Civil War, the Democrat Party opposed the Civil Rights Act of 1866. That was proposed by Republicans. The Democrat Party opposed the Reconstruction Act of 1867, proposed by Republicans. The Freeman-Bureau Extension Act of 1866, Republicans proposed it, Democrats opposed it. The Enforcement Act of 1870, to enforce civil rights, opposed by the Democrats. The Force Act of 1871, opposed by Democrats. The Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, the Ku Klux Klan was an influential part of the Democrat Party. Well, of course they opposed that. The Civil Rights Act of 1875, the Democrats opposed that. The Civil Rights Act of 1957, the Democrats opposed it. The Civil Rights Act of 1960, the Democrats opposed that. All Republican proposals, Ms. Cantwell. So you can see why some of us think Democrat, and we think slavery and segregation and racism and race baiting, because that's the party's history. 1800 to 1866, the Democrat Party involved in black codes. Were you taught about the black codes? 1876 to 1965, the Jim Crow laws, poll taxes, literacy tax. After the Civil War, all the way into the 1960s. Who was doing that? Northern Republicans? No. The Democrat Party. The 1964 Civil Rights Act of the opposition came from the Democrats. As a matter of fact, filibusters came from the Democrats. Not for libertarian reasons, not for constitutional reasons, for flat-out racist reasons. The 1965 Voting Rights Act. Oh, they pound their chest today how important it is. Fought, filibustered in the Senate by Democrats. Schoolhouse door after schoolhouse door blocked not by Republicans but Democrats, Ms. Cantwell, your party. This is why we could never call the Washington Redskins the Washington Democrats. Just think. Slavery, segregation, poll taxes, literacy tax, black codes, anti-civil rights acts, the Ku Klux Klan. Oh, the shame of the Democrat Party, the shame of the Democrat Party. And now, of course, anybody who opposes Obama is a racist. Anybody who opposes anything the Democrats do are racist, because this party is a party that truly believes in destroying the country from within based on many things, but especially race. Especially race. They're race baiters through and through from day one. They have their Jefferson Jackson days. You wear this? Oh, sure. We have big parties. Jefferson Jackson days. What Jackson? Andrew Jackson. Why don't you ask Native Americans in this country and the tribes what they think of Andrew Jackson, the first great Democrat, and how he treated Native Americans? I don't know, Miss Cantwell, have you ever gone to a Jefferson Jackson dinner? And when you went to those Jefferson Jackson dinners, Miss Cantwell, did you insist that the Democrat Party drop the Jackson part of the Jefferson Jackson dinner? No, you didn't. Why didn't you? Why didn't you? There you could actually have a say, as opposed to a football team. Yeah, it's pathetic. So they wrote a letter. I'll get into the letter. I'll get into more history. Get into more specifics. They want to have a debate on race? Well, let's have it. Which party did what? Who did what? Who's responsible for what? Time to take the gloves on and confront this. Take them off. I'll be right back. Now, I'm not done. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is said to be the most popular politician in America. Bill Clinton has never had to answer for his extremely close relationship with J. William Fulbright. J. William Fulbright was a long-time senator from Arkansas. and he was a racist, and he was a segregationist. October 22, 2002, Bill Clinton traveled to Fayetteville, Arkansas to honor the life of the late Arkansas Senator J. William Fulbright by dedicating a 7-foot-tall bronze statue of the man. 9 years earlier, in what the Washington Post characterized as a moving 88th birthday ceremony for former Senator William Fulbright, President Clinton last night bestowed the Presidential Medal of Freedom on the man he described as a visionary humanitarian, a steadfast supporter of the values of education, and my mentor. Clinton asked, "It doesn't take long to live a life. He made the best of his and helped us to have a better chance to make the best of ours. The American political system produced this remarkable man, and my state did, and I'm real proud of it." Of course, what he didn't say is in 1956, J. William Fulbright was one of 19 senators who issued a statement entitled the Southern Manifesto. This document condemned the 1954 U.S. Supreme Court decision in Brown versus Board of Education that we talked about last week. Its signers stated, among other things, that, quote, "We commend the motives of those states which have declared the intention to resist forced integration by any lawful means." They went on, "We pledge ourselves to use all lawful means to bring about reversal of this decision, which is contrary to the Constitution, and to prevent the use of force in its implementation," unquote. Of course, it wasn't contrary to the Constitution. It's right there in the 14th Amendment, which unfortunately the court didn't use. And of course, in 1957, the first serious challenge to Brown versus Board of Education occurred in Fulbright's backyard. Fulbright's Democrat colleague, Arkansas Governor Orville Faubus, another early Clinton backer, although they would turn on each other later, ordered the National Guard to surround Central High School in Little Rock to prevent 9 black students from attending that school. It was Republican President Dwight Eisenhower who dispatched the 101st Airborne Division to protect these teenagers and enforce the Supreme Court's decision. Fulbright wasn't done. Clinton's mentor, the great man who stood for humanity and was a visionary. Fulbright later voted against the 1964 Civil Rights Act, and he participated in a filibuster. He voted against the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and he did so because he believed in separating the races in schools and other public places, not for some philosophical reason. He was a segregationist, heart and soul. But the liberal media loved him because he also was anti-Vietnam War. And this is the same chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee who brought John F. Kerry, effing Kerry, in front of that committee in 1971 to trash our men and women in uniform, to trash our war effort, to give aid and comfort to the enemy with his vile lies, his serial lies. Which, of course, is why they like John Kerry, too. I'm not done. I've only just begun. They want to keep scratching at this scab? Well, the scab is bleeding. I'll be right back.
Do you ever talk back to your radio? Then you must be listening to Mark Levin. Pick up the phone and call 877-381-3811.
Let us be clear. Progressives have a long history of racism, and they found a home in the Democrat Party. The greatest of the progressives, and I don't mean great in terms of good, I mean great in terms of big mouth, Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, Mr. Progressive, flat-out racist, segregationist. Many African Americans were dismissed from the Postal Service when he was president. Did you know that? Yeah, he segregated the civil service. He's a Democrat, a progressive. But here's the one that's really remarkable because it's modern times. Oh, and then I'm going to circle back to the Democrats in the Senate and their high-minded act today. While the country is dying economically with a massive debt that your kids and grandkids are going to have to deal with while they refuse to secure the border. They're writing letters to team owners. I mean, if Jay Rockefeller's never earned an honest dime in his life, he's busy cutting coupons all the time, wants to change the name of the Washington Redskins. Buy a team, you jerk. But Robert Byrd is the biggest example. You think you've heard everything about Robert Byrd, but you haven't. I just want you to remember that Robert Byrd was the leader of the Senate Democrats from 1977 to 1989. 12 years. In 1942, he joins the KKK. He's so good at it, he rises to the rank of exalted Cyclops. Pretty sharp, these guys, huh? 1945, he writes, quote, "Rather I should die 1,000 times and see old glory trampled in the dirt, never to rise again, than to see this beloved land of ours become degraded by race mongrels, a throwback to the blackest specimen from the wilds." You ever hear that quote before? This was the leader of the Senate Democrats in the 70s and 80s. Saying that in 1945. 1947, he says in a letter that the Klan is needed like never before, and declares that he is anxious to see its rebirth. In 1964, he's one of the leaders of the filibustering of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, not because of a libertarian view of property rights and so forth. In fact, he cites a racist study claiming that black people's brains are statistically smaller than white people's. Alex Nepper helped pull this together in a column he wrote some time ago. 1967, he votes against his own president's nomination of Thurgood Marshall to the Supreme Court. But more than that, he went to J. Edgar Hoover to see if Marshall had any communist ties that could ruin his nomination. 1968, Robert Byrd tells the FBI it's time that Martin Luther King Jr., quote, met his Waterloo, unquote. The FBI ignores him. 9 years later, he becomes the leader of the Senate Democrats. He serves as majority leader. 9 years later, and he's leading the Senate Democrats either as majority leader or minority leader till 1987. Now, let's get back to that letter that Cantwell and 49 of her colleagues signed today because somehow, I guess, they think they have the power to name a sports team. And they're very, very offended by the name of the Washington Redskins. And they're insisting that it change. They haven't done a damn thing for minority unemployment in this country. In fact, they want to make it worse with their asinine push for an increase in the minimum wage. In fact, they haven't done a damn thing for anybody in this country. But this, they think, is important. The Associated Press, Alan Fram, half of the U.S. Senate, it's only Democrats because they only ask the Democrats, urge NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, and I don't trust that guy. He strikes me as a lib, to change the Washington Redskins name, saying it's a racist slur, and the time is ripe to replace it. In one letter, 49 senators cited the NBA's quick action recently to ban L.A. Clippers owner Donald Sterling. He's the same party that promoted Robert Byrd. This is the same party whose current leader made racist statements about Barack Obama. The NBA acted quickly. Did the Democrat Party act quickly and expel Harry Reid? Of course not. That's different. Even though he's the Donald Sterling of the Senate? Of course not. That's different. We urge you and the National Football League to send the same clear message as the NBA did, that racism and bigotry have no place in professional sports. And the letter didn't use the word Redskins because, that would be wrong. And Bill Nelson wrote his own letter, which tells me that he's gone to Redskins games. I'd like to know how many of these Democrats have gone to Redskins games. The letters come at a time of growing pressure to change the team name, with statements in recent months from President Barack Obama, lawmakers of both parties, and civil rights groups. And the owner of the Redskins, Daniel Snyder, has refused to change the name, citing tradition. The franchise has been known as the Redskins since 1933, when it played in Boston. Last month, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who made his racist comments that I quoted to you, which he's apologized for, but so what? Apologies don't count, right? Took to the Senate floor to say Snyder should do what is morally right. And so should you, Harry. But I won't say what that is. I'll get in trouble. In a written response, NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy said diversity and inclusion have long been a focus of the NFL. The intent of the team's name has always been to present a strong, positive, respectful image. The name is not used by the team or the NFL in any other context, though we respect those who view it differently. So Cantwell, she went to the Senate floor because she's the new civil rights leader in the Senate, you see. A Democrat. We've allowed the Democrat Party to get away with all of the horrible things that it's supported and has done Well, Mark, there's good things too. Yes, everyone and everything does some good things. But fighting for slavery and segregation, for black codes, for literacy tests, for poll taxes, for separate but equal, blocking little black kids from going to elementary schools and kids from going to high school and colleges where the President of the United States has to call out the 101st Airborne Division, filibustering legislation in the Senate, not because they disagree with it on philosophical grounds, because they're flat-out racists, making the head of the Democrat Party in the Senate the Grand Kleagle Cyclops or whatever the hell they call themselves. Who does this? And, of course, Woodrow Wilson, a segregationist through and through. J. William Fulbright, Clinton's mentor, a segregationist through and through. There's so many of them, I'd have to spend all month here behind the microphone pointing them all out. So here's Mary Cantwell on the floor of the Senate today. Cut one, go.
I also come to the floor, my colleagues who have not signed on to that letter, to sign on to a letter asking the NFL to take action as aggressively as the NBA took action and to move on this issue.
Let's stop here. Since when did the NBA become this great enterprise? Guys coming and going with guns, assault, all kinds of stuff going on over there at the NBA. Now they're going to hold up the NBA. Oh, look at the NBA. Oh, let's yeah, everybody be like the NBA. Excuse me, I choose not to. I choose not to be like the NBA. And I certainly choose not to be like Democrats in the Senate. Go ahead.
I'll be sending a letter to each of my colleagues asking them to either sign on to this letter.
Hey, you know what, Senator? The Russians and the Red Chinese are involved in joint naval operations right now. Did you know that, Senator? They just cut a $400 billion natural gas deal. Did you know that, Senator? China just stole some of the ocean sovereignty of Vietnam, stole some islands off of the Philippines, is trying to steal some islands off of Japan, and is stealing all kinds of technology from the United States. You aware of that, Senator? Now, you went to the Senate floor today. Maybe you should have talked about, like, the VA, the Veterans Administration. Did you send any letters to anybody on that? No. Senator Cantwell, State of Washington, you're so well served. All right, what else did she say?
Or to write their own letter, as one of our colleagues did.
Oh, let's stop. Write your own letter. I'm going to the Senate floor. What is this, third grade? Going to the Senate floor. I would encourage you, other senators, why don't you write your own letter? Dear Dan Snyder, I am the senator from fill in the blank. I don't like the name of your team. I've already made a proposal for the team name change. It's so popular, others have picked up on it. Washington Redskins. Drop the Washington part, because it's the Washington part that's killing this country. I'll be right back. Does the honorable senator from the state of Washington, Marie Cantwell, know that there are schools in her own state named the Redskins? It's very interesting. I have an article in front of me, October 10, 2013, the Seattle News. Washington State's Redskins, like D.C.'s, aren't changing their nickname. I said, whoa. What's going on here? I can't read. Let's see. Will Pinnett High School Redskins in Spokane County. They have no plans to change their mascot at a school where more than 90% of the students are Indian. In the heart of the Spokane Reservation, where author Sherman Alexie was raised, they're sticking with Redskins, said Tim Ames, superintendent of Will Pinnett Schools, this week. I've talked to our students, our parents, and our community about this, and nobody finds any offense at all in it. Redskins is not an insult to our kids. Wagon burners is an insult. Prairie N-words is an insult. Those are very upsetting to our kids. But Redskins is an honorable name we wear with pride. In fact, I'd like to see somebody come here and try and change it. Well, why doesn't Senator Cantwell go to Spokane County in her home state at Willapinett High School and demand that they change the name Redskins? Why don't all the senators, all 50 of the geniuses, the Democrats in the Senate, why don't they all write letters to the superintendent? As a matter of fact, why don't we just have a grand national book burning? We'll just wipe out everything we don't like. Dim-witted senators? Incredible. Here she is. Cut 2 on the Senate floor. Maria Cantwell, go.
So what is it going to take to get the name of this team changed?
Stop. What's it going to take, Senator, to get the name of the Willapinett High School Redskins changed in Spokane County, state of Washington? Over 90% of the students are Native American, and they don't want to change the name. What's it going to take, an act of Congress? That's your own state. Very Very interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. And it's very interesting what draws the attention of these liberals. It certainly isn't the future of the country. That much we know. But there's more. How much time do I have, Mr. Producer? Well, this is too good to do in 2.5 minutes. I want you to hear Jay Rockefeller, one of the whitest men ever to serve in the United States Senate, going off again about opposing Obama and Obamacare as racist. Now, of course, he voted against Clarence Thomas. I just looked it up. And I would suggest that's racist. So, Senator Rockefeller's opposition to Clarence Thomas was racist. Matter of fact, all the Democrats who voted against Clarence Thomas did it because they must be racist. That's the test. If you have a minority in front of you and you vote against them, it's racist. Or if you oppose them, it's racist. Now, I oppose Harry Reid to my last breath. Does that mean I'm anti-Mormon? No, I'm anti-moron. He's a moron. That's why I'm opposed to him. And of course, let us not forget the racist comments he made about Barack Obama. Sorry, folks. They want to dig into it. We got to deal with it. I don't want to be doing this. Trust me, I don't. My head's not into this. But they want to drag us down. We got to go down there and meet them, and then we'll rise back up. But we have got to make it clear to people all over this country, regardless of their race, their ethnicity, their background, who they are. Which party promoted slavery? Which party promoted segregation? Which party promoted a man who was a Klansman to its majority status as recently as 1987? While they're playing games and dividing this country and balkanizing this country, we need to talk about liberty. We need to talk about free speech, the Constitution, and property rights. The United States Senate has no business whatsoever getting involved in naming any business. We, the people, ultimately, in this case, the fans, will make decisions by ourselves. And I would ask Maria Cantwell, have you ever actually been to a Redskins game or any football game? But have you ever been to a Redskins game like I have? You ever look at the fans in the stadium? You losers on Capitol Hill, you like to talk about diversity and everything. That stadium is the most diverse place, like every other stadium in this country, you'll find anywhere on the face of the earth. I'll be right back. Let us listen to Jay Rockefeller today at an Obamacare hearing. This is the second time this buffoon has done this. Cut 3, go.
I'll be able to dig up some emails that make part of the Affordable Care Act that doesn't look good, especially from people who've made up their mind that they don't want it to work because they don't like the president. Maybe he's of the wrong color, something of that sort. I've seen a lot of that, and I know a lot of that to be true. It's not something you're meant to talk about in public, but it's something I'm talking about in public because that is very true.
You know, I'm going to tell you something, folks. This guy is extremely wealthy, not because he's done anything productive with his life, but because he happened to be the great-grandson of J.D. Rockefeller. And as I recall, he's worth like $200 million. I don't resent that. He can have whatever he has. He can inherit whatever he inherits. But this is a man clearly who doesn't have to worry about his medical costs. And so all you folks out there who oppose Obamacare, do you know it? You're doing it because you're racist? Because you have a problem with the president's color? It's not because of your experience with it. It's not because you're concerned about it. It's not because you have philosophical issues with it. It's not because you're smart enough to know it can't work. No. It's because there's something wrong with you. Because you are a racist. You're a bigot. This coming from a senator from West Virginia who sat side by side year after year with Robert Byrd. So if you oppose Obamacare, then you oppose it because you oppose the president's color. And he's got some emails to prove it. Hey, dummy, we all have emails to prove all kinds of stuff. But we don't wave them around and smear people. Now, of course, he's retiring, so he'll pop off all he wants. He's got a very big home in Georgetown, man of the people. Now, Senator Ron Johnson, Republican Wisconsin, he was there, and he didn't take kindly to this. Cut 3A, go.
It was regrettable, and I would say it was offensive. Seeing as I'm the only one in the room here really talking about opposition, that you would play the race card, that you would say opposition to Obamacare necessarily must stream from some inherent racism. Very offensive. But listen, my opposition to health care has nothing to do with the race of President Obama. So no, I didn't object to this because of the race of the president. I objected to this because it is an assault on our freedom. And, Mr. Chairman, I have to admit, I've had a great deal of respect for you, but I'm the only one in the room, and I found it very offensive that you would basically imply that I'm a racist because I opposed this health care law. That is outrageous.
I have to imply that Jay Rockefeller's a racist because he voted against Clarence Thomas, a black man, for the Supreme Court. I have to assume that Jay Rockefeller's a racist. Senator Ron Johnson wasn't done. Cut 3B. Go.
I can only conclude that what you in your heart deeply want for the American people is to go back to the healthcare system that we had and to have a totally free enterprise. Let the insurance...
Stop. Shut up, you idiot. Let me interfere here, Ron, for a second. We didn't have a totally free enterprise system before Obamacare, you nitwit. In fact, we had a heavily socialist system. Now you just pushed us over the edge. Go ahead, Ron.
You are assuming the wrong thing, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I'm saying
you've implied that I'm a racist.
I have
now you're
not
saying
implied that
you want me to go back to a failed.
Hold on a second. Now, Ron, actually, he's implied that all of us are racist. Go ahead.
Just incorrect.
That's very, very silly on your part. You're evidently satisfied with a lot of people not having health insurance. So long as
I am not. Quit making those assumptions. Quit saying I'm satisfied with that. I am not. There is another way of doing this. I'm happy to discuss it with you. I would have been happy to
That's enough. That's enough. Not only is Jay Rockefeller very, very wealthy, he's very, very stupid. Yeah, we're all satisfied with people not having health care, especially all those people who lost the health care they liked. Jay. You, America, you listen to these people. Now you know why the country's in such deep trouble, don't you? Just because somebody can get elected to high office doesn't mean they're intelligent, doesn't mean they have common sense, doesn't mean they're well-meaning. So many of them are political hacks, absolute political hacks, like this guy. We have case after case. People losing their doctors, they can't afford their medicine anymore, which used to be subsidized through their policies. We're going to have millions more people adversely affected after the midterm elections because Obama has pushed the day of reckoning for so many past the election cycle. And we have to listen to this schmuck? That's right, you're a schmuck, Rockefeller. I said it. And your whole family should be embarrassed by you. And you voted against Clarence Thomas, so you must be a racist. What I don't get is how people in West Virginia could vote for him time and again. But they did. But he's not alone. He's not alone. We've got this fella in the House of Representatives by the name of Clyburn. By the name of Clyburn, James Clyburn. He's from South Carolina, and almost everything out of his mouth is racialist. His daughter sits on the Federal Communications Commission. She's an active leftist. But this guy's the number 3 Democrat in the House of Representatives, and he's dumber than a doorknob, too. Oh, am I allowed to say that? Damn right I am. Cut 5, hat tip media-ite. Go.
I seem to remember our history. When after Reconstruction, when people of color gained political presence throughout the South, they drummed up all kinds of things, indictments and accusations. They drove these people out of the South, and many of them, some went to Chicago. Some came here to Washington, D.C.
Stop. So I'm thinking to myself at this point, what is he talking? What's he getting at? Is this going on today? No. What's he talking about? He's trashing his own party, by the way, but he doesn't even realize it. Go ahead.
The same kind of efforts to discredit this president, this administration, and I told them on yesterday...
Whoa. The same kind of effort to discredit this president reminds him of the Reconstruction period? Is this guy an idiot or an idiot? Is he a race baiter or a race baiter? I don't care what color he is. Just like I don't care what color Jay Rockefeller is. This is America. These politicians are ripping us apart. They're tearing us apart. If they would leave us alone, if they would stop spewing their poison, we'd be making even more progress. This is the number 3 idiot in the Democrat Party in the House of Representatives, comparing opposition to Obama as Reconstruction. And what's opposition to Harry Reid? Is that Reconstruction too? Or Nancy Pelosi, is that Reconstruction too? Or when we object to what you leftists do, is that Reconstruction too? You're out of your mind. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
Oh, the history of the country so well. I might not be as concerned as I am. I am concerned because I see us revisiting those same kinds of things that led to the end of Reconstruction in the
You're full of crap. You're full of crap. And I tell it to your face. And I might remind you, sir, that after the 1890s, Woodrow Wilson, the leader of your party, Your president was a racist and a segregationist. That's your party. And he wasn't a Southerner either. Well, that's not true. He was born in Virginia, but he came to the White House by way of Princeton, New Jersey, Princeton University, didn't he? Awful. Absolutely awful what they're doing to this country on the left. Absolutely disgusting. This is how they think of you, the people. If you dare to object to this radical socialist agenda that is destroying this country, all the jobs being lost in the black community, the Hispanic community, the white community, the Asian community, all communities, all the jobs being lost for young people out of college, young people who drop out of high school, young people in metropolitan areas who can't get a job, all these policies destroying opportunity and wealth creation and the next generation. And this is the best this jerk can do? It is. Because he is going to hold on to his agenda and his philosophy come hell or high water. And this is the same with liberals in the Jewish community, liberals in the black community, liberals in every community. Liberalism is their religion. That's what they fight for. That's what they believe in more than anything else. And they will say anything and virtually do anything to advance it. There, I said it. Now deal with it. And you will, because you're smart. This is the smartest audience anywhere. All right. I'll be right back. Mr. Clyburn has a very warped view of this country, a very warped view of the president's critics. And there he is. Like I said, you folks are smart. No, I was reminded of a long-standing case that went on for over 10 years in the District of Columbia. A wonderful federal district judge, Royce Lamberth, was overseeing this case, and it involved a federal trust fund. A federal trust fund essentially run by the Interior Department, the United States Interior Department. And the trust fund involved funds for thousands of American Indians, where the government was supposed to be carefully investing it, carefully monitoring it, and it became a disaster. So they brought a class action suit against the federal government, the Interior Department in specific, and federal judge Royce Lamberth was hugely a Reagan appointee, by the way, was hugely critical of what was going on and so forth, and was very active in trying to protect the Indian Trust Fund. I don't remember Maria Cantwell being involved in that matter. I don't remember her speaking out about it. I don't remember her concerned about what her beloved federal government was doing to thousands and thousands of American Indians. I don't remember any of that. I remember a Reagan federal district judge, Royce Lamberth, who was doing everything he could from the federal bench to hold people to account and to get that trust fund handled in a proper and an appropriate manner. That is what I remember, and I don't remember Maria Cantwell being involved in any respect, issuing any press releases or writing any letters to anybody. Because she didn't. Let me tell you folks something. Other than these Indian tribes that have these casinos, many of them don't have casinos. And they are dirt poor. The poorest people in this country are in Indian country. And I don't remember Maria Cantwell doing anything about that. And I'm not talking about more government. In fact, I'm talking about less government. I'm talking about something that they hate. Capitalism. Free market capitalism. You've got these Soviet-style systems all over our country. What's Maria Cantwell doing about it? Nothing. And she's not going to do anything about it, is she? All a bunch of clowns, all a bunch of hypocrites. The country's in dire need of serious leaders, ladies and gentlemen, and we're not getting them. Instead, we get the J. Rockefeller types. You should see some of the emails I get. Opposition to Obama has to do, in some cases, if not money, with his color. Oh, okay. An opposition to George McGovern when he was running, was that his color too? An opposition to Harry Reid, is that his color? Or Nancy Pelosi? Nancy Pelosi's almost translucent. Have you noticed that, Mr. Producer? She's not even white. She's like clear. It's like, whoa, what's going on there? Yes, I can see right through her. And we can see right through her, can't we? This country would be far better off. We'd be in such a better place, but for these clowns who just continue to drag us down and pull us back. Thank goodness the Washington Redskins aren't named the Washington Democrats. That's all I can say. Like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, many of you listening are Democrats. Not you, but your party has a disgusting history. You really ought to check it out. You might want to consider becoming independents. Definitely consider becoming conservatives, because we believe in individual liberty for everybody.